thing you touched upon, and I was going to touch upon this, but let's go into this now. Representation, because I think I was thinking this. Well, you guys have got a great gap in the market. You spotted the gap in the market, as you mentioned, those three things: ATs, family friendly, and black as well. How important, given you also as a kindergarten teacher before, how important is representation?
Yeah, well, representation is extremely important, but I want to make sure that I put representation in a different context than most people, right?
Mm,
So, most people, when they talk about diversity, equity, and representation, they're speaking about it from a position of powerlessness, meaning they're asking or hoping a group of people to represent them in what they do. You understand?
mm,
In America, for example, we have the majority. There's still, the majority in media is white people. That running things, right? And so we as African Americans typically use the term representation as from a position of powerlessness, saying, hey guys, hey white people, please represent us in what you create. You
fair
understand?
enough. I like
That
that.
is
I like that.
not
Mm.
that is not the position that I come from. And I want to make sure that I'm clear about that. You will never hear me use the term representation and please diversify because I'm not no beggar. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm,
And I
mm-hmm.
don't expect other people to represent me. That's not their job. That's not their responsibility.
That's
If
very true.
anything, they're doing what they're supposed to do, which is
Mm-hmm,
represent themselves,
mm-hmm,
because that's
mm-hmm.
what all empowered people do. When a person understands their true power, when a person understands their true responsibility that goes along with the power, shout out to Spider-Man, right? Okay, yeah, right. But when a person understands their power and understands their responsibility as a result of having that power, they know that part of their responsibility is to represent the best of themselves,
Correct.
right? That's what empowered people do. But when you suffer from a slave mentality, when you suffer from a slave mindset or a poverty mindset, then what you do is you don't recognize your own innate power and you put that responsibility on other people. You understand? And
Mm.
so that's why you hear, please, please, master, please, white man, please, Disney, please, Netflix, represent us in what you create. The real language should be, oh, I see what Disney, Netflix, and all these other and animes doing, all the studios. I see what they're doing. They're representing themselves like they should.
Mm-hmm.
We need to represent ourselves just as well and just as intentionally as
Mm-hmm.
other cultures do themselves. That's what the empowered mind says. That's what the mastermind says. That's what Black Lion and Cubs say. That's what Hotep says. You understand what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
So let me be clear that when we use the term representation on this side of things, here at Black Lion and Cubs, it's
Mm.
represent yourself. It's represent yourself. And do you decide what vehicle, what lane, where you want to represent, where you want to represent yourself? So, for example, I'm very clear about this. I recognize that anime is a Japanese art form.
Mm-hmm.
I have chosen to represent blackness, black
Mm.
culture, black excellence through that lens, through that vehicle, right? And I'm shaking things up and making people mad every time I do it because they don't want to see us. They want to see themselves. But hey, you
Mm.
can't stop me. You understand what I'm saying? The same way you can't stop someone else, from representing themselves through
Mm-hmm.
hip hop, which is a
Mm-hmm.
black culture, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So that
Mm-hmm.
you so my point is representation is extremely important, but representation starts with self. You represent yourself and you understand that
Mm.
that's your power and your responsibility to do so, not to sit around asking and waiting other people to do that for you. I'm done with that. Let me just drop the mic there, okay?
Cheese! Du-du-du-du. Yo, you are putting us on game today. Honestly, I had never thought of it. And you know what? I had said that in we've had some other guests as well, and talking about representation, but I'd never thought about representation in that sense where it's incumbent on you to represent yourself. I've always said like we shouldn't be knocking on people's doors. We should be creating the doors, right? To your point, anime is a Japanese medium, and they're gonna do what they know. It's their culture. You can't go and then tell them, hey, you need to put us in there. They may misrepresent you, and they have in previous. You can't blame them for trying to do something that they don't necessarily understand or have full knowledge of. And then when they
Exactly.
do it, you start complaining. So, but I didn't see it in that lens. You kind of shifted it for me, and I see what you're saying now. I'm going to be more conscious now when I say representation, because you're right. We should be representing ourselves as opposed to trying to lean on another industry or person or people to represent us in their specific world or in their
Yeah.
specific reality.